More than 10 years of waiting, 6 heartbreaking finals, and countless times watching others lift the trophy while he remained the face of disappointment. But finally, the day arrived. The day Harry Kane shed the label of a king without a crown. The Bundesliga silver plate Bayern Munich secured after matchday 32 was not just a title for the team, it was, for the first time in his career, a moment when Kane could stand tall amid smoke and cheers, no longer burdened by the weight of always falling short. After more than 435 goals for club and country and 3 seasons of tireless effort without a single trophy, football has finally paid its debt. When the final whistle blew at the Freiburg Stadium, it did not just signal the end of a match, it marked the moment Kane could finally smile without restraint. It was no longer the forced grin after a meaningless goal, but the true joy of a man who had just shattered the chains of fate that had shadowed his entire career. Kane could not hide his emotions after winning his first trophy. His reaction was exactly what people expected from a man who had grown used to heartbreak. There was no grand stage, no fireworks, but for Kane, that moment was more valuable than any crown. A video began with "We are the champions," showing his beaming face like a child unwrapping a Christmas gift for the first time. The caption read simply, "What a feeling," with a photo of him hugging the trophy alongside Eric Dier, Joshua Kimmich, and Leroy Sane. His eyes sparkled, not from champagne, but from the 16 long years that had finally been rewarded. He followed it up with a video of his teammates drenching him in beer while he sang "Three Little Birds" by Bob Marley. No longer needing to hold back, Kane laughed out loud, raised his hands, and finally let go of every doubt, the kind that questioned whether a trophyless player could ever be a legend. Bayern Munich's official website posted a tribute with the word "deserved," but the entire world knew those words were not enough. Because everyone who followed Kane's journey understood this was not just another title. This was liberation from over a decade of silent endurance. This was destiny finally bowing to a man who had fought with an unyielding heart. No more blank stares after every loss. No more quiet exits from Madrid, Wembley, or Berlin. This time, it was a Harry Kane, full of emotion, ready to let go of the pressure. For the first time, he stood at the center of a celebration. Not for goals or records, but because he had finally lifted a trophy. It was the reaction of a man who had known only pain, now finally touching true happiness. And if you were to ask what Kane was thinking in that moment, perhaps he would not need to say a word. His smile, his eyes, his voice said it all. After more than a decade of resilience and countless moments of despair, Kane stood beneath the sound of Bob Marley and streams of beer pouring over him, singing "Everything's Gonna Be Alright" as if cleansing himself. This was more than a celebration. It was a personal redemption. For the first time since stepping into professional football, Harry Kane was finally living up to the name that England once entrusted with hope. Harry, a hero of a generation, from the early days of bouncing between loan spells, Leyton Orient, Millwall, Norwich, and Leicester City, Kane's career once seemed like an unfinished draft. But in the year 2014, he returned to Tottenham and single-handedly redefined what it meant to be a modern-day striker in the Premier League. In a Spurs shirt, Kane scored 280 goals in 435 appearances, surpassing the legendary Jimmy Graves to become the club's all-time top scorer. Even on the national stage, he moved past Wayne Rooney and came close to breaking Alan Shearer's all-time record. Yet the paradox remained. While Kane's numbers dazzled, his trophy cabinet was empty. Between the years 2014 and 2023, Tottenham reached 3 major finals. In 2015, they fell to Chelsea in the League Cup. In the Champions League final of 2019, Kane returned from injury but could not change the result against a resolute Liverpool. In 2021, they collapsed once more in the League Cup final, this time against Manchester City. And on the international stage, Kane found no more fortune. From the semi-final heartbreak against Croatia in the 2018 World Cup to the devastating penalty shootout loss at Wembley in Euro 2020. And most recently, the Euro 2024 final defeat against Spain, led by Luis de la Fuente. 6 major finals, not 1 trophy. And so people started calling him by a cold nickname, the goal machine with no destiny. There's no doubt. Kane has always found a way to break through any defense, except for one, fate itself. Even neutral fans who have long admired him were forced to admit one truth. Perhaps Harry Kane was destined to become a second Alan Shearer, a personal icon forever alone, a legend without silverware. The cruel irony was that he deserved so much more. A brilliant career without a single trophy became fertile ground for mockery. For Harry Kane, no taunts were necessary. Time and fate had already branded him with the one label no footballer ever wants: the nearly man. The international press did not hold back. He scores, he leads, and then ends empty-handed once more. Even platforms like Twitter, Reddit, and Google Search took their jabs. Type in Harry Kane trophy, and you would find a sea of memes, sarcastic videos, and painful charts showing just how often he had finished second. It was as if Harry Kane had become the official ambassador for defeat. For nearly a decade, he turned down moves to more ambitious clubs. He stayed at Tottenham not just out of loyalty, but because he believed in building history with a team that had never tasted glory. To some, that was naive. To Kane, it was a matter of principle. But it was that same principle that kept the trophy curse alive until the summer of 2023. And when he finally joined Bayern Munich, the football world split in two. Half were hopeful, half remained doubtful, because if even Bayern could not help Kane break his curse, then maybe no place ever could. In August of 2023, Kane left Tottenham, not out of betrayal or lost affection. He left because time had answered clearly. In London, he would forever remain the symbol of regret. Bayern Munich was supposed to be his escape from the cruel cycle of deserving but empty-handed. A team built on triumph, a club filled with players who had already climbed to the highest peaks. Yet, as soon as Kane set foot in Bavaria, he found himself under a new kind of shadow, the weight of conflicting expectations. Fans wanted him to break the curse, but they also feared he might carry it with him. The 2023-2024 season, instead of being painted with silverware, turned into one of Bayern's most forgettable campaigns. Kane kept scoring, even breaking the record for most goals by a debut foreign player in the Bundesliga. But still, it was not enough. German media began to ask, had Kane brought bad luck with him? Was he somehow to blame for Bayern finishing without a trophy, for the first time in more than a decade? From a symbol of hope, Kane suddenly became the name whispered every time Bayern failed. The disappointment was not of his doing, but it still fell squarely on his shoulders. There was no time left for sympathy. No one was willing to wait. The 2024-2025 season began with a cold, clear message. Either Kane breaks the curse, or he will be buried beneath it. And this time, Harry Kane rewrote his fate, not with sudden brilliance, but through unwavering belief in the path he had chosen. The Bundesliga silver plate he held high was not just proof of a successful campaign. It stood as a symbol for everyone who had ever been left behind, mocked, or doubted for choosing the slow, steady road. In a football world obsessed with speed and celebrity, Kane was a rare figure who dared to go against the current. No shortcuts, no fanfare, just a steady march forward, one step at a time. And the most powerful moment was not the trophy lift itself, but the embrace with Joshua Kimmich, the emotional smile of a man who had stumbled so many times, yet never lost faith in himself. Because deep in the hearts of those who always believed in Kane, there lived a quiet conviction that one day football would give him what he had long deserved. And now, that day has come. The curse is broken, a new chapter has begun, and if there is one lesson that remains from Harry Kane's journey, it is this. Persistence does not mean being content with second place. Persistence is the only way to reach the finish line with no one left to doubt you.